I'd heard about the drones when I was out at Soul Foundation. The Soul Foundation is a academic organization that is looking scientifically at the UAP phenomenon. It was created by Dr. Gary Nolan out of Stanford University and Peter Skafish, and David Grush actually is a founding member. But anyway, I was out there and everybody was getting these orb reports on Twitter and whatnot. And I started really paying attention. My friends and family up here were sending me videos and they were talking about it. And they were saying they're right over the house. They're like 200, 300 feet up. They're seeing them every night, all night. So eventually I got up to Jersey and the first night, it was probably around 6 p.m. She came and told me, look out the window, the drones are here. And she can hear them.
Wait, so you went to New Jersey to be with your girlfriend, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So they have a particular noise that she has been able to identify. And where she lives, there's a helicopter flight path right over her house. They fly like maybe 500 feet over and they fly right into Manhattan. She has a view right out of the window of Manhattan. Beautiful view. She's very familiar with all the aircraft in this area. You have Teterboro Airport right down a few miles away. You've got LaGuardia. You've got all the major airports. Newark is about 20 minutes from here. And the flight paths all cross right in this region. But she started hearing this particular, she said it sounded mechanical, but it was weird. It didn't sound like a typical helicopter. And she would start hearing that noise, and the rest of her family would hear it too. They all start to identify that particular noise. And then they would go out and look, and they would, sure enough, see these drones at low altitude, like 500 feet or lower, just kind of floating weirdly around the neighborhood. So the night I got here, they showed up, and you can notice that they're odd pretty easily. They look like aircraft lighting. You've got the green, the white, the red, sometimes solid white, but the pattern is different. A lot of times they're in a straight line. Sometimes the lights are like different sizes and they kind of move around like the object, and you can never quite get a visual of what it is. It's always kind of like out of focus with your eyeballs. And so we were watching, and for a while, I'm like, I can't figure out what they are. They could be aircraft. They could be helicopters. But eventually they got very close, and they started to do this big pattern. They would drop in elevation, maybe a few miles east of us towards Manhattan. They would drop in the exact same location at the same angle, and they would disappear right behind a house that we could see. And then they would disappear because they were really low. And then other ones, or maybe the same one, would appear later, further away. And then it looked like they were circling over Manhattan and wrapping back around. But you would lose sight of them in the clouds, or because of elevation. You couldn't track one in that all the way around. And we watched them from like 6 p.m. to like midnight. And a couple of them got very close, maybe like 500 feet. And they were maybe 500 yards away. And, but no noise when they were close. We couldn't hear any noise. And then later in the evening, the aircraft traffic seemed to dissipate, and it was only drones. Because I had the window open, I went out in the front yard, and it was quiet. I could hear the traffic from the highway, but it was just quiet. And there was all these Christmas lights flying around Manhattan and Jersey. So she was in the backyard with the dog, and I heard her yelling, screaming, and I started to run down. And by the time I got there, I could only see a light drifting. I guess it would have been kind of southwest And she was telling me it was bigger than 2 helicopters and about 400 feet over the house. And she described it as triangular. She could only see like a shadow. She couldn't make out an object, but it was kind of like a shadow of an object with the 3 lights on it. And she watched it just for a couple seconds, and then it just started to drift southwest. But she didn't get it. She couldn't get her phone out in time. The other thing that happened, we were on our way back from, it's called the American Dream. It's a big mega mall. And we were on Route 3 heading west in Passaic County in traffic. And we started to see the orbs, the drones, whatever they are. And she looked up and she got her phone out and she was tracking one in particular. And then we were kind of in a brightly illuminated part of the highway. And then when it got darker, we looked up and we saw it looked like hundreds of lights. And my first thing I said was, oh my God, it's like a mothership. And she had a little bit better view than I did. We only could see that for like maybe 10 seconds, and I couldn't get my phone out in time. But it looked like the whole sky was, all the clouds were full of multicolored lights. Seeing it firsthand, I'm like, there is anomalous objects in the sky, for sure. I don't know what they are, but I was coming around to the idea that it could be a combination of military drones, commercial drones, adversarial drones. Whatever's up there is weird. Just UAP. Weird, unexplained, inexplicable lights in the sky.